Perfect. Welcome again, everybody. Thank you for joining us tonight for our student accessibility live stream. We are all really excited for the path you have ahead of you and truly look forward to sharing all of the reasons why Trent University is ranked #1 in Ontario for student services. But before we get started, I would like to respectfully acknowledge that we are on the treaty and traditional territory of the Mississauga and Anishinaabe. We offer our gratitude to the First Nations for their care for and teachings about our earth and our relations. May we honor those teachings. So my name is Nani. Quick introductions here, and I will be your session moderator for tonight. And with me for the next hour, I have Brian Jameson, amazing people. So accessibility advisor, also a learning strategist and assistant director of student accessibility services. And then alongside Brian, we also have Danielle Hockaday, also an amazing person, accessibility advisor and a learning strategist here at Trent. So during the session, you can access a live transcript at any time. You do have to make sure you click the closed captions button at the bottom of your screen. So that's how you access it. If you have any questions during the live stream, please feel free to type them in the chat box, also located at the bottom of your screen. So take a look at those.
Yeah. I've got a question. Apparently the chat is disabled for participants. Can we enable that?
Okay, let me see if we can. Probably just so we can have the questions. So how about we stick to the questions so people don't get confused and type in questions on both ends. And then that way everybody can type questions on one side. If you have a question on any of the things that I've said so far, you can pop it in the Q&A as well. And then in the chat, I did also include the instructions. Again, if you require closed captions for the live stream, at any point, you can access the live transcript button at the bottom of your screen. And then for any additional needs or live stream accessibility accommodations, again, feel free to pop the question in there, and then we can make sure that we sort it out.
And right? Maybe can we just check to make sure that everyone knows where to put the question and answer in? So is that something along the top or along the bottom of their screen?
Yeah, so that is going to be at the bottom of your screen. So at the bottom of the screen, close to the chat icon, there is the Q&A icon. So that's where you're going to be popping in all of those questions there that you have full access of. So your questions are going to be in there. They can be answered. So I will be answering as we go. And then if it's something that is definitely could be helpful for anybody else on the live stream, I will bring it up to our panelists as well. So could be a great question to for them to answer out loud. All right.
Yes, feel free to interrupt us.
Yes, don't hesitate. It is 7 o'clock, so we're taking it easy for you guys.
Thank you. As the speakers for tonight, we have like a couple of screens going on, and then the question and answer pieces here. So please just interrupt at any point. We're very flexible here. And so glad that you can join us tonight and that there's so many people here. Excellent.
All right. Lastly, before I let the experts take the floor, quick overview. So we're going to go through a presentation from our panelists, and then throughout, yes, you can pop any questions that you have. And then at the end, we're also going to have a quick Q&A period. So with that said, we'll get started with the presentation, and the floor is yours.
Okay, great. Thanks so much, Nani. Well, as Nani said, we are with Student Accessibility Services at Trent University. This sits inside the Student Wellness Center, which includes counseling, health, and accessibility, and of course, our Center for Academic Testing. So it's a nice unit to belong to because it really looks at the whole student and student wellness in general. So I think that this is a standout piece to Trent University. So yeah, that's where we sit right now. Just go on. Here we've got pictures of us as well, like in our everyday life. Assistant Director, Student Accessibility Services.
And then I'm Danielle, the Accessibility Advisor and Learning Strategist. Happy to be here with you.
Mm-hmm. So just to give you an idea of what we have planned for today, we're going to talk a little bit about what we do, some of the legislation that we're governed by, as well sort of sit in the transition from high school to university, just to sort of paint that picture about what that transition is going to be, as well how a student will register with SAS and how to do that. Danielle's going to talk about accommodations with some examples. We're going to talk a little bit about the roles and responsibility of students, SAS. SAS, we short form SAS because we're Student Accessibility Services. And then faculty, we're going to talk a little bit about funding, OSAP, and bursary applications, and then open up the floor. But again, please do ask questions throughout. We'll be monitoring our various screens. Oh, and I think I just saw a hand raised. And so if you raise a hand, we'll stop and look to the questions in the question and answer area. So please feel free to do that. And maybe, I'm trying to see who raised their hand. One moment. And I can't see that. Noni, can you see? Put your questions in the Q&A section. Yeah. I hope that works for people. I see that I do have the ability to allow someone to talk as well. So I will do that if I can see who needed to ask a question. So we'll allow that as well. We'll go through that. Oh. Okay, so I'm seeing some questions already about our Center for Academic Testing. So we will show you a picture of academic testing, and we will speak to what that accommodation might look like for you. So yes, thank you for the question. It will be answered for sure. This is the Peterborough team here at Student Accessibility Services. So we wanted to give you sort of a picture of who we were. Of course, we're speaking as Peterborough, but of course there are 2 locations. So we'll be speaking about sort of the Peterborough processes, but the Trent Durham site is aligned with all of our services as well, but they might have some specific processes around how they intake students and support students. So if you are with Trent Durham, please do email durhamsas@trentu.ca. We'll be speaking from a Peterborough lens, but know that our services and your accommodations will be aligned for sure. Okay. Before we dive into the meat of our presentation, I just want to speak to privacy and confidentiality when we talk about and discuss disability services, academic accommodations. We know that you do not need to disclose diagnoses. And of course, we are recording this session so that people that can't make it to this synchronous event, so they have access to a live, they can view it again. As well, we'll have transcription. So we do ask you to be mindful not to disclose a diagnosis, just to maintain privacy and confidentiality. When we talk about disability and accommodations, we want everyone to understand here that if we label a disability, it's not meant to out or to trigger anyone or to be disrespectful. We try to, when at Student Accessibility Services, to look at more functional impact of disability. So I just want to be mindful of that as well, and say that we understand that everyone's unique abilities are expressed in different ways. So when we speak maybe in like generalities, we don't, it might be sweeping. So if we speak about an academic accommodation, it may or may not apply to you. Again, because we understand that ability expresses in different ways. So I just want to set the tone for how we'll sort of continue this conversation. And again, please feel free. We really did this because we thought there would be more chat options. So we wanted people to feel comfortable about, sort of where we were with discussing accommodations. Our presentation is mainly about academic accommodations and what that will be like for you, but our housing colleagues did at the very end ask us to mention a few things, so I wanted to say that as well. All right, so let's dive in. So the Ontario Human Rights Code, or we just short form it to the code, is one of those legislated pieces that we are governed by at Trent and really in post-secondary education. And this is really to make sure that you have individualized access to academic accommodations. We want to ensure, and as does our ministry, want to ensure that you have full rights to participate and to succeed. The Accessibility for Ontarians with Disabilities is another piece of legislation that asks us to remove barriers so you have equitable access to academic accommodations, right? So I think that there's a few pieces in that. It's individualized. So when I spoke before about disability, we don't sort of sweepingly institute any specific accommodation based on a label. We really look at all of those pieces that make up you as an individual that is coming to your education. Okay, so it's individualized academic accommodations. All right, great. I'm going to just move on. All right, so let's think about it. So it sounds like we have a lot of future Trent students. So, and I'm not sure if everyone here is currently in high school and just finishing off those last couple of months. Again, congratulations. What I want you to think about is, in high school right now, you have, this has kind of been your typical pattern of learning where you have to go to high school, right? It's free, you follow rules, there's bells for classes. I think most classes now are 75 minutes, right? That you've got your classes all arranged. So you go, you sit in a classroom, they're set, you've got school year is September until June. Your exams are during class time. Your teachers are rarely there. They impart the information. You're probably all very successful. If you're coming to Trent, you've been very successful. So again, congratulations. There's a lot of people in your world in high school that know that you have a disability. Typically, and I know that you're all keener, so you probably do more than 1 hour of homework for every class that you take. It's going to change a little bit at university. You probably have a greater number of shorter assignments. Again, that's going to look a little bit different in university, and your classes are smaller. So when you're anticipating that transition, what's it going to look like at university? And we point this out because we just want to say that this is an exciting time, and we're here to support that transition, and we're so excited for you because it really is a great time in your journey for education, right? So of course you're going to make some decisions about attending your classes. It's your responsibility to get there. There's no bells unless you set your alarms on your phones. Hint, that's something that will be a great strategy for you. You're going to create your own schedule. So I'm not sure if you've been able to select your classes yet. That will be coming up. So you're going to be creating your own schedule. Semesters are all year. You can go during the summertime. Be prepared for having exams in the evening, on the weekends. So our exam period runs over Saturdays and Sundays. It's your responsibility to make sure that you are aware of when those exams happen and to make yourself available for it. Your professors are, rather than sort of imparting information, they're going to be asking that you think critically about the information that is presented to you. And we hate to say the fail word, but that might happen. So we're here as learning strategists as well to talk about how we can make sure that that doesn't happen. And you'll have lots of supports at university, and Danielle will speak to some of those pieces. People typically will not know, especially if you have an invisible disability, that you don't have that they won't even be aware that you have a disability. For your courses, we would expect that it's not just attendance at your class, it's also approximately 3 hours of homework for every class that you do. So by your full participation, it's more than just attending class. You'll have all of your readings to do, you'll have your preparation, and then on top of that, you'll have much larger assignments that you'll have to schedule and calendar for its completion. No one will remind you that it's due, or very not as often, right? And again, you're going to be in lectures that have many more students, up to 400, right?
Yeah.
In your sections.
Especially those first year courses. There's more students. And then as you get second year, third year, fourth year and on, the class sizes tend to get smaller. But some of those first year courses can be quite large compared to high school.
And as I go through this, I'm thinking, are you excited about these changes? Or is it intimidating? I hope you're excited about them because it is an exciting piece.
The overarching would be independence.
There it is. Yes.
Independence is a good thing. It's an exciting thing.
It is.
It's new.
Yeah. Love it. And you are not alone. Okay, so when we look at our student numbers and the students that have been active this year at Trent, this past academic year at Peterborough and Durham, there were 1,844 students registered with student accessibility services, okay? And then we had over 9,000 accommodated exams. So we'll talk and we'll show you a picture of the Peterborough Center. So there are places and spaces for you. So rest assured, you are not alone. There are many people out there like yourselves who have accessibility needs.
So over to me. So why might a student register with Student Accessibility Services? So we have a list here. Again, sweeping diagnoses. Some people that register with us may have a few diagnoses that they're registering with. And again, we're looking at those functional impacts rather than just the diagnosis. But here is a list. So there may be mental health, there may be ADHD diagnosis, learning disabilities, acute and chronic medical. This is a big one where students don't necessarily know that they can register with us for maybe something like diabetes, whereas they can. So really important to get that message out that there may be a functional impact there. We can accommodate that. Students might register with autism, physical disabilities, acquired brain injuries like concussions, or sensory impairment, hearing and vision loss. So a variety of needs that we certainly work hard to accommodate you for.
Mhm.
So when you're thinking about how to register, really, really important, and we want to get this message out soon and fast, that students can register with us over the summer. So really important that you start thinking about how you're going to do that now so that you can get in, be all set up and organized before you get here in September. Okay, so you can go to our website, trentu.ca/SAS, and figure out what's needed. So there's going to be documentation requirements, and I'll show you a little bit more here in the next slide. What you're going to need to register with us. You're going to complete a pre-intake questionnaire. So what that looks like is you answer a couple of questions, you upload your documentation, you'll receive a confirmation email back, and then we'll reach out to you and schedule your intake appointment with your advisor. So it's all a pretty seamless process. It's just about getting started and connecting with us early. Certainly you can follow us on social media, Trent at Trent.SAS. That's on Instagram for some updates and reminders and things as well. But you can also email or call us for any additional support needed through that registration process.
Mm-hmm.
So this is one of the forms or one of the pieces of documentation that you can submit to us. This is the SAS Disability Documentation Form. It is found on our website. This form outlines your functional impacts. So again, it's not about diagnosis and label. It's about what is the impact and what needs to be accommodated. So right on this little snapshot of what the first page looks like, right on it, it says the consent for disclosure of diagnosis. So does not need to be disclosed. It's again about those functional impacts. And as you flip through the pages, the regulated health professional will be filling out what those impacts are in discussion with you.
Mm-hmm. And we have a question about whether our students can meet with the SAS advisor in the summer.
Absolutely. So we are here in person, or we can meet over Zoom or phone if you need to too. I've definitely met with students that are camp counselors, and we're meeting over phone over their lunch break, where there's kind of more remote and no kind of choppy internet. So whatever the need is, we can meet with you in whatever the preferred mode of meeting. So there are options for sure, especially if you don't want to drive 3 hours or more to Trent over the summer. We have those remote options as well.
Mm-hmm. And we have 2 orientation days set for this summer, and we have a screen for that. So, but if you want to just jot it down, it is going to be July 25 and August 15. I'll put that in the chat. I'll confirm that, but I'm pretty sure
slide.
I'll be on the slide. Okay. So yes, you can meet us. Thanks for the question.
So thinking about functional impacts. So once that documentation is completed by the regulated health professional, whoever that is, we take in that documentation and we start thinking about, okay, what is the need here? We look at what the practitioner has indicated through your documentation. We take into account best practice and research and information that we have on our side. And then we also take into account what you have to say, right? Your lived experience, and take that as a whole picture to help develop an accommodation plan that's supportive for you.
Mm-hmm.
So what is an accommodation, right? Big word, right? Sometimes it's not necessarily talked about as an accommodation at the high school level through IEPs, if that word's thrown out there or not. Oh, do we have a little question here?
Oh, yep. Sorry. Thanks. Can documentation be a recent psych ed assessment?
You betcha.
Yes.
Yes. So psychoeducational assessments are definitely accepted. Absolutely. So they are good for that 5-year piece, and that is in conjunction with OSAP as well. So 5 years. If it's outside that 5 years, we'll still accept that old assessment and put in some interim accommodations and help you to get that new assessment completed. If you're 18 years or older, then we're good at the time of the assessment, even if it's older than 5 years, but certainly get that assessment uploaded as your documentation and we can move forward with the process. Great question.
Mm-hmm.
So, sorry, back to accommodations. Oh, there we go. And so it provides equitable opportunity to participate and access course content. So it does not modify the requirements that the student has to meet. So whatever that your professor has set up in the syllabus, you're required to participate in the course, complete the assignments. It doesn't change that, but it helps you to have access so that you can complete those tasks, right? So it doesn't necessarily promote and ensure success, but it provides access.
Okay. Yeah, great.
So when you're thinking about some accommodations, just like in high school for your IEP, there's different ways that you can access content in the classroom. So you might have an accommodation for audio recording of lectures. So you have an in-person class, you would have the ability to take your technology to class with you and record the audio from the lecture. So then you can go back, listen again, fill in any of those gaps in your notes and things that might have been missed when you're trying to get those good notes in. Okay, so there's audio recording of lectures, there's peer provided lecture notes, there's a volunteer in the class, they will upload notes, and then you would have access to those notes to, again, fill in any gaps. Not a replacement for attending class, but to supplement your own note taking. There's also transcription support for students who are deaf or hard of hearing. That's available, and you would work closely with our adaptive technologist to make sure that you're getting the content there. Negotiated assignment deadlines. The big thing is negotiated with professors. That might be an accommodation that's needed. And accessible formats, of course, and learning materials. So whether that's text-to-speech options and accessing some of those hard docs to get the audio piece or whatever that might look like for you. And we have another question here.
Yeah, so question about, can you volunteer to be a peer note taker? Yes, we're always looking for peer note takers. And if you're a good note taker, I think that your fellow learners will be excited to have your notes. So please, and you do get a co-curricular credit for that. So that would be fantastic.
It's also a great way to help keep you accountable, because if you know other students are relying on your notes, that might help you to get to class too.
Can be considered as external course credit. Oh, about volunteering on different panels that promote accessibility services. Yeah, we're talking more and more about the different panels and supports for students. Right now, there is no external credit for those volunteering. It goes on a co-curricular record, which is a little bit different. You get a what do they get? Like a certificate of participation, so that you can then use it for career pieces. I've received conflicting information. Do we actually need or have to get a recent new psycho evaluation, or does the past one count indefinitely?
No, so the past one does not count indefinitely unless you were over the age of 18 at the time. Psychoeducational assessments are valid or considered or accepted by student accessibility services within that 5-year range. So if you got it over 5 years ago, then there would be a need to update that. To really focus in on your current functional impacts versus, your functional impacts from grade 4, right? Students develop, they change, they learn strategies that may or may not have been shown in that first psychoeducational assessment.
Yeah. Yeah, but that doesn't stop you from coming to our service and registering with us.
Correct.
Because we will take an older psychoeducational report and we'll just put something, your accommodations in as an interim, on an interim basis.
Because we are
Okay?
aware that there are wait lists, right?
Yeah.
To get in with psychologists to complete these assessments, and we have some supports that we can offer to help you to get in and be assessed.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. So accommodations for extra time. I think we're about to
We're
talk
gonna
about
get
that
on
right
that.
now.
Yes.
Yes.
So accommodations for test and exams. So that previous was your in-class stuff. Now this is for tests and exams specifically, and it's facilitated through the exam centers, both at Peterborough and at the Durham campus. So extra time, absolutely. That first line there, extra 15 minutes, extra 30 minutes, extra 45 minutes, double time, whatever that looks like for the individual. Again, so looking at those functional impacts and the whole picture of the student, we come up with what would be an appropriate amount of time. Distraction and reduced space. Certainly the exam center itself is a reduced distraction space. Instead of writing with hundreds in the gym, potentially writing with around like 20 students in the exam center, especially during those busy times. Other times you might be in a room by yourself. It really will depend. And individual rooms is an accommodation too. So students that need that very private space, door shut, that is available as well. Frequent breaks and or snacks. So sometimes, blood sugar lows, distraction, you didn't eat before you came, need a drink, you can bring those things. Again, just not crunchy, not super loud, being aware of that others are around you. Use of adaptive technology. So again, access to a computer, read and write, anything that you need if there's a visual piece, magnifiers and that kind of thing as well.
Oh, so just a couple more
Yeah.
questions, and we're kind of backtrack a little bit here. If someone has received an evaluation in the previous 2 years, let's say from a previous institution, would you suggest they get reevaluated at Trent since they're anticipating being here for 7 years?
No. If it's within 2 years, you're good to go. You just submit that assessment and we will accommodate based on that.
Now, psychoeducational assessments are expensive.
They are.
So we have a question about, how does one afford that?
So there are some options. If you are a student here receiving benefits, there is $1,000 there through Trent Student Benefits to support an assessment through a psychologist. So you can apply there. If there are parental benefits, you can also hopefully get some support there as well. And then if you're receiving OSAP, we can also apply for the bursary for students with disabilities, and then see what kind of coverage you're eligible for there. Ideally, we would be able to get the whole assessment covered. But again, it will just depend on your financial need through OSAP, what your benefit coverage looks like. But you will be able to talk through that with your advisor, and she'll be able to help you through that.
There's another question about sort of the ebb and flow of functional impacts and abilities. If they have a recent one, but they feel that things have changed, should they go and get another assessment done?
Hard to say. Again, considering funds and the cost of the assessment. Again, I would start with registering with us, have the conversation, and go from there.
Yeah, I think, come in and talk, because it might not necessarily change what accommodation is available to you. So we're presenting examples of different accommodations that are available dependent on functional impact, right? So not all of these will be available to all learners. So before you go out and spend a lot more on another updated assessment, come and do a consult with your SAS advisor for sure. So one of the questions about tests and exams, can students request to write with pencil and paper as opposed to technology?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So as long as your exam is in person and you're writing in person, then yeah, Great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, great questions.
Another, I'll keep going here as you're looking at questions. So ergonomic setup is another accommodation. So whether that's a rising table for sit to stand, podium, or, more ergonomic chairs, that's available as well. Cue sheets, calculators, multiple choice on exams page rather than filling in little Scantron bubbles that might be challenging for fine motor. And then time of day shifting of exams as well, which may be needed for medication purposes. Yeah.
Okay, great. Oh,
here's our little picture of the cat. So the cat is the Center for Academic Testing, CAT for short. Fun way to remember. But this is what the basic setup is of the exam center. So you've got some desks in the middle for if you're writing by hand on paper, not needing technology support. Along the back wall there, you'll see the computer setups. You'll see the headphones there as well for read and write if that's needed, ergonomic chairs. And then on the right-hand side, there is an orange door there. That's one example of one of the individual rooms that's available for students if the accommodation is for an individual room. And then on the left-hand side, that's where the exam center staff and proctors usually are. Just to give you a little visual, helps to kind of take away some of the nerves. Certainly we encourage you to take campus tours, figure out where all these spaces are, check out where an exam room is before you actually go to write that exam, that first one. So
yeah, because you might not necessarily be in this room, so you'll get an email telling you where your exam room is, but typically for final exams, they're all in and around this space that you'll become familiar with during the year.
It's in Otonabee College, if anybody needs specifics.
Otonabee College.
Yeah.
211.
Very specific. So then some out of class accommodations. So we're going to dive into a little bit about reduced course load and OSAP in a minute, but I just wanted to list it there so you're aware that those things are available. Adaptive technology training and support. So Caleb Hunt is our adaptive technologist. He is fabulous, super smart, super techie. We're happy to set you up with Caleb for some tech support. Learning strategies and advising through your advisors. I am one of 4 advisors here at Trent. And then Briar, you might have Briar as your advisor as well, the boss. And then referrals to other student supports and departments around campus as well. Again, we'll give you a very brief list of some extra supports that we find really helpful a little bit later on. And then you may or may not have practicum with your course, like nursing and education. You might need some accommodations for those as well. So we will work with your program to help you be supported in the community.
Yeah. One question about assessment accommodations, about having a scribe. So someone verbally gives an answer and then having a scribe. So that is an accommodation. Again, it's going to depend on, your specific need and the documentation that we receive for that.
And I want to also just add, we do really focus on development and being as independent as possible. So again, based on functional impacts, if a scribe is the need versus is technology a great support that would help you to be more independent and less reliant on somebody else. So again, it will depend on what the need is. And again, you can talk to your advisor about that.
Yeah, speech to text. That's right.
Yeah.
Okay. I understand the individual, however, will I be penalized future regarding graduation or part of my degree? I'm going to come back to this one. Okay.
So we'll keep going so reduced course load. This is a big one. So really, really important. I highlighted on the bottom of the screen there that you register with SAS prior to the end of July for the fall semester. So starting in September. Okay. So really, really important to register with us early so that you can have access to this accommodation if it's supported by your documentation. Okay, so the big thing with reduced course load is programs are set up so students are taking 5 courses per semester. That might be too much. you want to take fewer courses so that you can be more successful, find balance between life and academics, whatever that looks like for you, reduced course load may be really, really important. The big thing with reduced course load, it allows per credit billing. So instead of taking 4 or 5 classes and paying the exact same amount, with this reduced course load, you can take 4 courses and just be paying for those 4 courses so that, you know, if you complete your degree over 5 years, 6 years, you're not paying more in tuition overall. You're just paying for the courses that you're taking at the pace that you're taking them. So that's really, really important. And then if you're receiving a scholarship, you can take as few as 3 courses per semester and still maintain your scholarship as a full-time student. So with the reduced course load, you can take as few as 2 courses, still maintain your full-time student status with the university. Same with OSAP. If you're receiving a scholarship, as few as 3 courses per semester and still maintain your scholarship. So really important, there's options. So you don't have to take 5 courses, force yourself through 5 courses. It'd be torture. It didn't work out well. Instead, let's work at a pace that works for you. Again, register before the end of July to make sure you have this for the fall semester.
Yeah, and I think the pacing piece is really, really important. Like, you don't have to push through and take 5 courses every semester. And one of the questions was about being penalized for registering for academic accommodations and like the future in terms of graduation. So one, if you're accommodated, nothing shows on your credential that you were accommodated.
No.
That's not there at all. The only thing in terms of graduation is sort of if you do sort of a non-standard program of study sort of pathway. So you'll have to work with an academic advisor to discuss what your program of study looks like. So again, if you reduce in the fall or winter, do you need to catch up with a summer course, those pieces? So your graduation date might be pushed back a little bit. So just be aware of that and just sort of plan out and map out what that will look like. I mean, that you're coming to this session right now, you're already really ahead of the game, I think. We're starting to think about, okay, when will I take this course? Like, I don't need to take it this fall or this winter. I can push it out to this summer. So yeah.
Yeah, you can still finish in 4 years if you want to take a reduced course load and take summer classes. Great. If you're okay with taking it over 5 years, 6 years, 7 years, whatever that looks like for you, there are options. And that's what we just want to present here today. But again, register early. We really want you to register over the summer. Okay.
Yeah. So being accommodated will not cause issues in graduating. No, not at all.
So thinking about OSAP. So not everyone is eligible for OSAP, right? But for those students that are eligible, really important to have your regulated health professional also fill out the OSAP disability verification form. This allows for the Canada Study Grant for students with permanent disabilities, where students can receive up to $2,800 per year. That's what it's going to be for 2025, 2026. So $2,800 could replace the need for a loan because you could just accept that grant, not have a loan to pay back, and that be enough to potentially support you financially. So we do encourage students to apply to see what they're eligible for, because financial support is wonderful, right? University is expensive. So any of those extra supports that you can get make a big difference for sure. And then you can also discuss with your advisor the bursary for students with disabilities. There may be support there for services or equipment that are needed to support your functional impacts. Again, that's all supported through completing that disability verification form with your doctor. So a little bit of documentation that you have to fill out, which can be challenging, but in the long run does make a huge difference.
Great. We have 15 minutes left.
Okay.
So Just
Okay,
to-
a little quick highlight. The accommodation glossary on our website. You can check that out. Again, the SAS website, trentu.ca/SAS. The accommodation glossary is there to get a little overview of what the different accommodations look like.
Everything that Danielle's just kind of gone through, but in a little bit more detail. If you want to take some time and just see what's there. We're going to be updating our website this summer.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's one of our projects. So
Stay tuned.
stay tuned. Okay, so then students' role and responsibility. So it is really important that you play an active role in the accommodation process. So please be sure to register with SAS. One of the pieces is that you'll notify your professors of accommodations. So remember, in terms of disclosure of disability, your professors won't know what your diagnosis is. That gets removed. All they will see is how they need to accommodate you, either in the classroom or in regards to any of the assessment accommodations. So I think that that's an important piece, because I think in high school it's a little bit different, where people know more about your disability. Here they don't. It's up to you whether you choose to disclose or not, but you never have to. And I just want to make sure that you understand that you don't have to disclose, okay? But in terms of playing an active role, you do need to attend class, read that course outline. We call them syllabus or syllabi for many, and emails. You will come to maybe love, hate receiving emails, but it's important that you pay attention, bring some awareness to that Trent will be sending you emails, SAS will be sending you emails, the exam center, the CAT will be sending you emails. So please make sure that you take a look at those pieces. As well, in terms of scheduling your tests and exams, what will happen is it is a little bit of a separate process. So you will need to book those tests and exams with the CAT, with the Center for Academic Testing, and then they will book you into one of those rooms to write your tests with accommodated time. We do require you to book those well in advance of your tests and final exams. For your tests and midterms, it has to be 8 days before your test, but for your finals, it does need to be 2 weeks before the final exam period. Okay, you will be getting lots of emails and notifications about that, but again, just bring your awareness to scheduling. In the fall, we'll have some notices for you to maybe book in with someone to help you book all of those. So you have support. Again, you're not alone in learning about these processes. Requests for assignment extensions. So if assignment extensions is one of your accommodations, that has to be done well before that assignment is due. So make sure that you are proactive and you reach out to your professor. Even on our website, we have a little templated email that you can then tap into, that you can send to your profs. So we want to take some of the load off about like asking for that extension. If it is an accommodation, then you can do that before, but not afterwards, okay? And if you think that things are not going well, you know, obviously we want you to advocate for yourself and your needs. You have a SAS advisor, you have a SAS team here. As soon as you start to feel something, do let us know, like reach out to your SAS advisor, okay? Your SAS advisor will help you find some maybe new strategies for your success, okay? I'm just gonna come back in here if there's any.
It looks like there's another question in the chat about OSAP, and do they give you the DVF form when you've completed the questions? No. So if you Google OSAP forms, it will come up and you'll be able to scroll down and see the OSAP disability verification form for public institutions. Okay.
Yeah, good question about booking exams. So this is actually something really interesting, and I know that some of my learners, they can write some of their exams in the gym with with the 200 students that are in the gym. And for some exams, they want to be in a more distraction reduced environment. So they prefer to work at the CAT. So it might be, multiple choice, you're fine just writing with the class in the gym. But the other ones maybe that has math involved, you might want to write at the CAT. So yes, you choose which tests and exams you write either with your class or at the CAT.
And which accommodations you're using at the exam center as well. So if you have a computer, you don't need a computer, you cannot check that off. If you have an individual room and you don't need it for that exam, you cannot check that off.
Yeah, there's a whole team of SAS advisors. So you'll get distributed to a different advisor. We're all great.
Self-proclaimed great.
No, everyone is really wonderful. So depending on like who's available and when, like we'll try to match you up with the advisor that's available. Given availability, really. Yeah. A great question. Thank you. And in terms of your faculty, so your faculty, your professors, they are a partner in the accommodation process. They will receive, like when you activate your accommodations, when you notify your faculty, they'll see the plan there. And let's say you have an online exam, they'll input all of those accommodated time factors. And, often on the syllabi, they'll have information about if you are a SAS registered learner, the process for asking for those pieces. In the syllabi, really important, they're going to provide you with information regarding the essential requirements of that course. So it really does become like a contract with you, the learner, about what is expected of you in that learning environment. They also help create accessible course content. We do have our assistive technologists that will help with alt formats should you need alt formats as well. And yeah.
So,
sorry. I didn't mean to click there, but okay. Sorry. Back. There. Okay.
So supporting the transition. So you're going to be coming to Trent. This is one big step of joining us tonight to get ready for the transition to post-secondary. But we do have some events coming up that we really want to highlight, and we hope that you join us. So SAS 101 that Briar mentioned earlier is July 25th and August 15th. So you can sign up for that free registration, come and spend the day with SAS, learn about some different resources around campus. It's a really great day. Really great day. Yeah.
You're going to meet other learners, and we separate out the learners from the supporters.
Yeah.
So,
in a fun way.
Yeah, fun on, ours is informative because we always get separated, you and I.
But it's a really great day. So we hope you can join us there. Another opportunity for learning is through Eyes on PSC, which is equipping yourself for educational success in Ontario's post-secondary environment. But it's a free online prep course, and it's run through Blackboard, which is going to be your learning management system. So that's where your courses are going to be shown throughout your terms, all your semesters, all your profs upload information there. But this gives you a chance to go in July, in August, kind of explore around Blackboard, get comfortable with it, and learn about all the resources at Trent. So really a great opportunity there. Again, free.
Yeah.
And then next is the Bridge program. We are not in charge of the Bridge program, but it's just another great opportunity to kind of highlight this program. 14-day online program gives you a chance to feel out what university courses are like, and then you earn a half credit towards one of your first year courses. So again, you will pay for this, but it's kind of encompassed all into what you would normally pay in your first year. It runs August 7th through 16th. You can Google Trent Bridge program. You can register online for that.
Yeah, so a question about the SAS dates. So yes, we've only just finalized the dates, July 25th and August 15th. We will have something up on our website about how to register. Absolutely.
Some other quick supports at Trent that, again, just a quick highlight, just so you know they're out there and available. Academic advising, meeting with them, picking courses, making sure you're staying on track, heading towards graduation date, making sure you have all the credits that you need, really, really important. Academic skills for some of the writing support, organization, time management, all the wonderful things that they have to offer. Peer support services, First People's House of Learning, 2 other really great supports to connect on campus. Again, we want campus to feel like home. Trent is really known for being a small, tight community. These are great ways to kind of help you get connected.
Yep. Okay. So quickly, just about housing, I'm just going to say, go to their website, trentu.ca/housing. If you are in residence, like another fun experience, but they do have a couple of forms that need to be completed. And this deadline is June the 4th. So if you go to their website, there's 2 pieces of documentation just around, well, really 1 piece of documentation, sorry, the unique accessibility and unique needs in residents needs to be completed by a regulated healthcare professional. And this will just help them identify like room selection and suitability, given the functional details. And then if you do have a service animal, this actually the form that you fill out will actually come to your SAS advisor for verification. And just a note that it's only service animals that are allowed in residence and not emotional support animals. Okay, one quick question. So just to answer a question that has come through about proactively seeking assignment extensions. Yes, like the earlier that you'll calendar everything. And if you notice that there's a lot due in 1 week or on 1 day, we would recommend that you ask for that assignment extension or movement earlier, for sure.
Right. I would say maybe not like September for like end of November,
Sure.
But in advance, it is definitely needed. It needs to be in advance. Yes.
Any program summer days for Trent Durham students?
They do have a transition day, and that should be on their website as well.
Yeah. Okay, great. How do professors get how do they know about your accommodation? So what will happen is once your accommodations are put in place with your advisor, what will happen is you'll go through a portal, and we'll show you how to use the portal when you're registered with us. And what will happen is you'll just activate that, and they'll get an email notification about your accommodations. Yep, great questions.
Yeah, so you don't have to walk up to them and say, here's my accommodation plan. You don't have to email them. It's all done with a few clicks of a button every semester.
Yeah, 1 minute to go. We got through everything, but if there's still some questions of people, again, you can email us sas@trentu.ca. So really easy, SAS@trentu.ca, and email us your questions.
Okay.
Oh, thanks for putting that in, Nani.
Of course.
That was great.
Oh, yes.
Great questions.
Perfect.
I hope we answered everyone.
Yeah,
It looks like we did.
great.
Okay.
Okay, perfect. So thank you everyone for joining. Before I lose everyone, I know the next sort of thing that might be in people's heads right now is course registration. So we are going to have a live stream on May 27th. So make sure you keep that in mind. Sort of the same structure, and it's going to be nice because you're going to actually have our academic advisors and other faculty that sort of knows the whole process and that can help you with that. So they'll be going through the process for you guys. But other than that, I think we're good.
Great.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Great.
We-
Thank you.
Right.
Yeah, we look forward to seeing you soon.
Awesome. Thank you. Have a good night, everyone.
Great. Thanks. Bye.